Hello, hello, hello. Your favorite BPM coach. And today we're talking about process decomposition. What is process decomposition? You go into an area, whether that is finance or HR, and let's say you've been called in by the head of HR and they said to you, Joe, you need to document our processes. You need to decompose them and then you need to document them. Now, obviously, you will have an engagement with the head of HR and maybe his immediate reporting lines, and you will then typically you will interview them to ask them what are the core functions or the areas. And then they will typically tell you, Joe, this is what we have. At the highest level, it will be manage human capital. We're calling our function human capital. We're not calling it HR. Then, Joe, our next highest level of process groupings would be we do HR planning. We do a bit of HR planning annually, quarterly, etc. We then have a whole recruitment process where we get requisitions, we advertise positions, we shortlist candidates, we interview candidates, and we do the requisite screenings and checkings for credit, criminal records, etc. You make them an offer. If they're happy with the offer, they sign the offer, etc. So all of that happens under the recruitment process. Then they will also tell you they have a development process where they develop and counsel employees, and they will break down for you what is meant by that. They will also have employee relations, or it could even be an outsourced function, but these things will emerge in these discussions that you will have. So under employee relations, they will say we manage labor relations, collective bargaining, etc., etc. And so the list goes on. This is not exhaustive, but I'm just trying to demonstrate the concept, because you would obviously also have things like payroll, the payroll process, employee information, learning and development. So there's organizational development. So there's quite a few processes in the human capital bouquet. But right, guys, so once you've done this level of decomposition, I now want to talk to you about the best practice framework called the APQC. Where that comes into the picture is, let me just open the framework for you. And while it's opening, let me tell you who the APQC is. The APQC is an international body. Let me just first share here. Sort of can't multitask. Here we go. Okay, cool. There we go. So the APQC is an international body, lots of member organizations. They've come together initially to put together a baseline for how we classify processes across industries and so forth. So there would be, right now, there's an APQC for banking. So if you're working in a banking environment for one of the banks, you should go onto the apqc.org website, and there you'll find a copy of the banking framework. There's a framework for insurance, there's a framework for mining, etc., etc. I think they've developed these very comprehensive frameworks, right? So now your client has asked you to decompose and start documenting and start improving those human capital processes. So you see on the cover of the APQC, you'll see that human capital is seen as a management and support service. So 6.0, develop and manage human capital. You will then scroll to it. I know that it's on page 10. Then you will be able to see, so here we go, develop and manage human capital. Then you will look at the way you have decomposed your process versus what the APQC is recommending. So you basically incorporating a bit of best practice into the organization, and also to test what the head of HR and his his subordinates have told you in terms of how they conceive of human capital. So this is for you to go and say to them, look, I know of a best practice framework, so I want to consult with the framework and just make sure that what we have listed is coherent, is comprehensive, and there's nothing lacking. And not just will you do it for the highest level of process, you can also do it for your detailed processes. So in human capital, as per the APQC, the highest level of human capital decomposition is develop and manage human resources planning. Then there's a 6.2, recruit, source, and select employees. There's a 6.3, develop and counsel employees, and so forth and so forth. Labor relations is the 6.4, 6.5 is reward and retain employees. 6.6 is how do we redeploy and retire our employees, and 6.7 is how do we manage information, employee information analytics, and how do we, the last one they have is how do we manage employee communication. So let's just go a bit to the recruitment track, right? 6.2. So not only does the APQC help you to make sure that the highest level of processes are more or less in line with the APQC, but also when you start digging deeper and decomposing further, then you can also make sure that what the business is telling you, the processes that they're sharing with you, they also comparable in a way to the APQC. So the APQC would have employee requisitions, and here they have all the sort of detailed, all the activities in terms of what is meant by employee requisitions. Recruiting and sourcing candidates, the third level here. They will also then share with you what they see as the activities there. Then we have the next third level, which is screening and selection of candidates. And here they will also share with you, what some of those activities are. So guys, at the end of the day, I think the APQC best practice framework, and it's not just the APQC, there's quite a number of them actually, but the most popular one as far as I'm concerned, based on my experience, is the APQC. So it then helps you to just make sure that your document, your work, your processes are comprehensive and that it is comparable to a best practice framework. So what we then said, you saw under recruitment, they would have typically 6.2.1 employee recruitment requisitions. And then you'd see as the next third level, they would have 6.2.2, and that is, I don't know, advertise, no, that's a lower level position. Source candidates, right? And that could be through multiple channels. You can source a candidate through LinkedIn. You can source a candidate by working with a recruitment vendor. You can source a candidate with, what do you call it? It could be a referral that one of your employees, they could be referring an employee, or you advertise on your career portal, on other career portals, etc., etc. So then 6.2.3, your next third level could be, I don't know, interview candidates, and then actually we should call it shortlist candidates. And then number 6.2.4 could be manage offers. And this is just your level 3 of process, guys. There's more detail in here, which means you should be going to a level 4. So 6.2.1 could have a couple of level 4 processes. As I said, this is level 3. Sourcing of candidates, it's also a level 3 bucket, but you now need to document the level 4 processes that says, how do we source candidates? As I said, there's a couple of channels. You could be using LinkedIn, you could be using a recruitment service provider. It could be an employee that's referring somebody that they know that would meet the spec. It could also be you advertising on your company's portal. It could also be you advertising on other portals. In South Africa, we have Career Junction. It's one of the well-known portals. We also have PNet. Then 6.2.3, that's another level 3 shortlisting of candidates. Again, you would need a further level. You would need level 4 processes that speaks to how do we actually do this? What are the processes that are involved in shortlisting candidates? And similarly for managing offers, you would need level 4 processes that speaks to how do you manage those offers. So guys, so that's how it all comes together. Do your decomposition with your business sponsor, with the head of a particular department or business unit, and maybe the immediate subordinates. You know, they will give you an understanding of how they conceive of and how they visualize their particular function. It could be a finance function, it could be IT, the IT function, it could be the operations function, it could be any of those. The APQC is a best practice framework that helps you to make sure that the way you classify your processes, the way you decompose them, it is comprehensive, it is coherent, and it's in line with best practice for that particular industry. So happy modeling, guys. Keep modeling, keep doing good work in the BPM space. I'm here to support you and help you. Reach out to me at any time. Thank you.